You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
And now a message from Black Cloak. What's the easiest way for threat actors to bypass your company's cyber defenses? Targeting your executives at home. That's because 87% of executives use personal devices to conduct business, often with zero security measures in place. Once execs leave your organization's secure network, they become easy targets for hijacking, credential theft, and reputational harm. Close the at-home security gap with Black Cloak Concierge Cybersecurity and Privacy. Award-winning 24/7, 365 protection for executives and their families. Learn more at blackcloak.io.
I'm Ron Brash. I'm a Director of Cybersecurity Insights at Verve Industrial, but I'd like to be more preferred as an industrial cybersecurity geek. Well, if I go back pretty far, right, my family, we were always around, blue-collar jobs, logging, industrial fishing. And so I kind of wanted to be an engineer when I was younger. And roughly around, I would say grade 10, when I was about 14 years old, maybe 13, I started looking at computers and doing a lot more with them. I've always grew up with computers. My parents had 286s, 386s, all of that stuff that very few people had. I really liked what you could do with them at the time, right? Not many things in life you can beat with a sledgehammer until it works properly. So I learned that programming, I could get what I wanted, but I also realized that it's a very frail process and it's easy to manipulate. Little did I know that one of my best friends at the time, who's the son of a gentleman named Eric Byers, who's one of the grandfathers, the original gangster of industrial cybersecurity, was one of the four leaders of this whole realm that I'm in now. And he'd heard that I was good with computers. And one day I was over at their house and he said, "Hey, would you like to have a practicum or let's have an interview?" And I said, "Yeah, you know what? I would love to." The rest was history. When I started for Eric Byers, this was at Tofino Security. I started off kind of doing technical testing and, you start at the bottom, right? You work your way through tasks and you go upwards. And I had a quick aptitude for that and doing technical testing of breaking things. So I kind of outgrew that pretty quick and I wanted to become a developer. So I started doing more and more advanced tasks. While I was working for Eric, and I continued to work for Eric, I went and skipped 2 years of school and went into my third year of university, got a bachelor's. And then I started looking a little farther ahead and I said, I want more. So I researched a bunch of universities and I found another one in Montreal, which was Concordia University. And I found a great advisor that was trying to do software-defined networking in industrial critical infrastructure. So then I moved to Montreal, basically, and then I got my master's in 2017. And this is where I took a complete kind of sidetrack from industrial cybersecurity for a little bit. I went into neuroscience. Montreal is actually a bit of a hotspot for machine learning, and I hate the word AI, but AI. And I got involved with some people and I was like, you know what, let's do a consultancy for that. So for the next 3 years, I was running 5 employees in Montreal. I've gotten 2 embedded neuroscience devices to market with obviously my partners at the time. Of course, I can take all the credit for that. And I learned a lot of stuff. And then roughly when Trump came to power, a lot of the larger American companies that we were dealing with felt were very hesitant to fund a Canadian company, right? And then all the work just dried up. I took a little bit of a hiatus after having to take a little bit of a break from work. I was struggling pretty hard. And Eric Byers kind of came out again and said, "Hey, Ron, are you looking for something else?" And I was, kind of poking my head up out of the sand and said, "Well, yes, of course I probably am." And then it turns out that I jumped over to Verve Industrial, where I am now. And I've been there for probably a year and a half, I believe now. I've been working on a little bit of customer mandates, doing research, helping management, helping the team, with all of my experience from the past, and we're moving forward. I describe myself as someone who's a problem fixer in critical infrastructure. And I say to them, so what does that mean? Well, it means that I go and work with customers, and I work with devices that, make power or make water, or, pick whatever that's maybe that person's more familiar with. And I say, that those things run a bunch of electronics and computers inside of them, and they need to be updated or managed in a secure way, just like you would for your regular computer or a cell phone. Obviously more complicated than that. And it's in a realm where I can't just shut down, let's say, a refinery when I need to apply a piece of software as a patch. I said, can you imagine shutting down a refinery? And they say, no. I said, well, there you go. Promoting yourself isn't necessarily a selfish act. Promoting yourself and what you're working on and what you believe in, especially if it's in this type of world, right, where we need the lights on, the mission of the social needs of society, which depend on internet, electrical, so on and so on. If you want your research to be impactful and make change and ensure that those necessities are there on a daily basis, you have to help make that research accessible to others. And I found that, being true and honest to others, just as, and putting yourself in the shoes of the asset owners as you're talking about these issues, gets you a lot of respect, even if people don't necessarily agree with you. And that's something that I think that's really, really important. My goal is to retire in the next 4 or 5 years. And maybe my work won't be my mark I leave on the world, but heaven is the memories that you leave on earth. And heaven only exists as long as those memories are present on earth. So if you have family that remembers you or friends, that's your heaven. That's your immortality. And that's kind of what I want.
Most of our listeners who deal with legacy privileged access management products know they tend to be expensive, difficult to deploy, and hard to use. Keeper Security is the answer. Keeper's Zero Trust solution delivers password, secrets, and connection management in one easy-to-use platform. It's fast to deploy, agentless, clientless, and has no implementation fees. Plus, Keeper is FedRAMP authorized. That's why we trust Keeper to prevent breaches and gain full control over privileged users. Visit keeper.io/cyberwire to schedule a quick demo. That's keeper.io/cyberwire. And thanks to Keeper Security for supporting our podcast.